I know that you were the first, one of the first ones at Clive's party to speak about Whitney's passing the other day.
Yes.
And that was, did you know her well?
Yes, I did. I actually, when I was growing up in the music industry before I had success, I somehow got on her wedding invitation.
Oh, honey, buckle up, because this one is going to blow your mind. Diddy's name just won't stay out of these conspiracy whispers, especially when it comes to mysterious celebrity deaths and bizarre Hollywood secrets. But the tea just got hotter. Now, folks are saying that the way he talked about Whitney Houston, baby, it wasn't just innocent chatter. It was coded suspicious, and people are asking, did he know something worse? Was he involved? Because guess what? All of these dog dots seem to connect back to one person. And if you know Hollywood's underground whispers, you already know who we're talking about.
Diddy and Davis, have they ever had anything past business? Because to me, they seem to mirror each other behavior-wise, like they... To me, they both got like that dark energy around them. But I almost wonder, like, well, damn, you know, did they ever have anything? Well, I just wondered that, man, because they're very.
And then it's Grammy time.
That happened.
And her and had a fight 2 days before. And from what I was told, Bobbi Kristina was present for some of that fight. And then the next thing you know, she's dead.
While her body was literally upstairs, lifeless, cold, in a bathtub, guests kept dancing, sipping champagne, and living it up like nothing had happened. Now, ask yourself, who does that? Why would CD let the celebration continue knowing that an icon just died in his hotel? And how was he so calm, so unfazed? And then there's Diddy. Suddenly, his name gets tangled in all this darkness. Could it be because he's hiding something? Or maybe he's just another puppet in a twisted web of power, control, and deep industry secrets. Because if there really is a network that protects the powerful and silences the truth, then baby, you better believe people are wondering what role Diddy plays in all of it. And Bobby Brown, oh, he's not holding back. He's been screaming foul play for years, not just for Whitney, but for their daughter too. And according to Bobby, Nick Gordon, yes, Chrissy's ex, isn't just a suspect. He might have been involved in both deaths.
I want the world to know that Bobbi Kristina did not die from the bathtub incident. That's not what killed Bobbi Kristina.
What killed Bobbi Kristina?
Bobbi Kristina was starved to death.
Do you approach that?
He knows what happened. I don't know what happened that night, but he does.
You walk through that door and you see her much like you saw Whitney.
It was literally, it was a nightmare all over.
But here's the real kicker. Bobby thinks it goes even deeper than Nick Gordon. So much deeper, it'll make your skin crawl. And guess what? Whitney's name didn't just resurface because fans were nostalgic. No, ma'am. It came up in the middle of Diddy's trial. That's right, Capricorn Clark, Diddy's former assistant, mentioned Whitney and Mariah Carey during her testimony. Now, Capricorn said Cassie was talented, but not Whitney Houston or Mariah Carey talented. She said, talent to me is Whitney Houston, Mariah Carey. And she straight up called Cassie a studio artist, needing all the tricks and engineering to sound good. But here's where things take a jaw-dropping turn. Cassie was also asked about the night Diddy overdosed on opioids, and this was around the same time Whitney died. Cassie said, that evening, we had a freak off. We went to a club in San Bernardino, and then he had a party at the Playboy Mansion. I went home. From what he told me, he took a really strong opioid that night. Honey, are you seeing the pattern? Whitney's name, the overdose, the freak off, the timing, it's all just too coincidental, and people are not buying that it's random. And that's why more and more folks are digging, staying into Diddy's past, his connections, his behavior, his involvement, because Whitney wasn't just any celebrity. She was a goddess, a legend. And the way she died, suspicious, doesn't even begin to describe it. Everyone remembers. Whitney was found submerged, unconscious, in a hotel bathtub. The official story? Accidental drowning. Toxicology said there was a small amount of Coca-Cola in her system, some Xanax, some weed, but nothing excessive. Here's where the plot thickens. Officials said maybe she had a heart attack, but there was no real proof of that. The coroner didn't find clear signs of a cardiac event, just mild heart disease and minor blockage, nothing fatal. So what happened? Why was she in scalding hot water, too hot to escape from? Why wasn't there enough water in her lungs to say she drowned? Was she already gone before she hit that tub? The silence has always been louder than the answers. People have whispered for years that the relationship between Diddy and CD was more than business, that there were intimate favors, control, power plays. And here's the most twisted part. Some believe Diddy wasn't just repaying favors. They believe Diddy became CD's fixer, the guy who cleaned up messes, silenced threats, took out liabilities. Allegedly, Whitney became one of those threats, and Diddy, he knew exactly what needed to be done. Bobby Brown has hinted at this in so many interviews. In his memoir, in emotional, raw moments where he just couldn't hold it in, he's been trying to scream the truth without saying too much because he knows the industry eats its own. They call him the bad boy, the troubled ex, the one who just couldn't let go of the past. But the truth, baby, he's been holding on to secrets so heavy, they've been dragging his soul through the mud ever since Whitney passed. In every interview, there's that look in his eyes, that glassy stare when her name comes up. Like he's haunted, like he knows too much but isn't allowed to say it. Because behind every pause, every stutter, every sigh, there's pain, there's guilt, there's fear, and maybe there's the truth. Let's rewind a bit. Remember when Chrissy, Whitney, and Bobby's daughter was found in almost the exact same situation? Bathtub, unconscious, drugs involved, and guess who was with her? Nick Gordon. Same man Bobby called out again and again. Same man Bobby said was no good from the jump. Same man who was around Whitney near the end, too. People thought Bobby was reaching, that he was just looking for someone to blame. But what if he wasn't? What if Nick Gordon wasn't acting alone? What if he was just a pawn, and what if the real puppet master was higher up, much higher? Allegedly, this whole thing, the parties, the drugs, the freak-offs, the eerie coincidences, a system designed to groom stars, chew them up, and spit them out when they stopped cooperating. And did he? According to the whispers, he was trained to keep that system running. Keep the silence, keep the secrets. CD didn't just invest in Diddy, he molded him. He watched him rise, he allegedly owned him. And Diddy knew that power didn't come without consequences. So when Whitney, an uncontrollable, unbought, unfiltered force, started drifting away from the machine, well, she became a problem. Whitney was never a woman you could silence easily. Even with her struggles, even with her pain, her light was too bright. And if she was threatening to expose any part of the industry's darkest secrets, that would have been catastrophic. Some insiders even claimed that Whitney had started journaling again, that she had notebooks filled with truths, names, places, dates. One person even whispered that she had a tell-all in the works. Nothing formal, just a document for someday. And that someday never came, because someone may have made sure it wouldn't. And still, through all this noise, Diddy somehow gets to walk through the storm untouched, clean, protected, powerful. After Whitney's death, he started showing up everywhere, talking about her spirit, her legacy, their friendship. But people close to Whitney, they were shocked because they knew she didn't like him. So why was he suddenly talking like she was his sister? Why was he posting tributes like they had history? Was it guilt? Or was it part of the image game? Attach yourself to an icon posthumously and suddenly you're wrapped in sympathy, mystery, and power. That's the Hollywood way. Rewrite the narrative once the person is gone. And Diddy, he knows exactly how to play the narrative game. But then we go back to that night, the bathtub, the silence, the party raging downstairs while Whitney's body grew cold upstairs. CD didn't stop the music. Diddy didn't stop the silence. And Bobby? He never stopped screaming. He was screaming at the industry, screaming at the doctors, screaming at Nick, screaming at himself, and the world barely blinked. Because when legends die, they don't just pass away, they're erased. Their truths buried under PR statements and sanitized obituaries. And let's not forget the autopsy report, that vague document that never quite explained what actually happened. Traces of drugs? Sure, but not enough to kill her. Signs of heart failure? Nope. Not really. Water in her lungs? Barely. So what really killed Whitney Houston? If it wasn't an overdose and it wasn't drowning and it wasn't a heart attack, then what was it? Some say she was already unconscious when she went into that tub. Some say she never made it in there alive. Some even say she was taken out of the picture on purpose. because of what she knew, because of who she might have exposed, because she was no longer controllable. And when you look at the timeline, it's all too perfect. Diddy's freak off, his overdose, the parties, the silence, the eerie mentions in court over a decade later, everything tied together like a bad Hollywood script. But this isn't fiction, this is real, and it's terrifying. And CD, he's never really addressed it, never really been asked, because in this industry, when you hold the power, you control the questions, you control the narrative. But Bobby, he doesn't care about their rules anymore. He's lost too much. His wife, his daughter, his peace. And now, he's talking slowly. So here's the million-dollar question. Do you believe him? Do you think Bobby's been telling the truth all along? Do you see the pattern, the timing, the behavior, the fake friendships, the eerie calm and the chaos? Because the deeper you dig, the more chilling it gets. And the more Diddy tries to smile through it all, the more people start asking, what is he really hiding? And how much longer can he keep hiding it?